Hello and welcome to Acoustic Review. My name is Ben Morgan Brown and today I'm looking at the ASG-8 Wood 120 from Godin Acoustic Solutions. This 120 watt amplifier features two channels, both of which have combo jack and XLR inputs, and a 3-band EQ with phase and resonance controls. Each channel has an independent reverb control, and effects include echo, flange, and two different chorus settings which can also be applied. A phones line out and a mixed DI out feature, and an auxiliary input and Bluetooth allow you to connect external devices. With a gig bag included, the ASG-8 has an RRP of £599. For this video, I'll be using my personal Martin OM28V, which is fitted with a K&K Pure Mini pickup, and we'll be using the mixed DI out to demonstrate the sound. So let's have another listen, and then please join me afterwards for my thoughts. First impressions of the ASG-8 is that it's a good looking piece of kit. The wood finish gives it the feel of a retro hi-fi system, and the quality feeling handle fills me with confidence when taking it out of the box. It's not the lightest of acoustic amplifiers I've come across, but it's not the heaviest either, so I think a solo singer-songwriter could carry it into a venue with some other gear without too much issue. I like the simple layout of the controls with readable white on black labels, and the knobs feature very obvious pointers too, which will make adjustments during a gig much easier. The unit itself has a built-in tilt built into the design with accompanying rubber feet to stop it moving around on stage. And the only thing missing for me is the ability to mount the amp on some sort of pole or stand to help with projection. One thing which I do like is the matching channels. Often on small amplifiers, one channel skimps on the features a little bit, which limits the use somewhat. But here both channels have the same controls and inputs, so any combination of instruments or microphones could be used. Unfortunately, the phantom power is at 24 volts, which does mean that some condenser mics might not work or may be suboptimal, but I think most users will either be plugging in an instrument with a pickup or using a dynamic mic for vocals, so that shouldn't be too much of an issue, but it is something to note. Plugging a variety of pickups into the amp, I found it to have a natural and pleasing tone that reflected the character of the pickups used. For my K&K Pure Mini, the addition of the resonance control, which is a notch filter designed for cutting feedback, really helped to tame a bit of boom in the low end, and for regular undersaddles, the mid control worked well at taming the quack without losing attack. One thing I did note was that when using a passive magnetic pickup, I really had to increase the gain a lot to produce a decent signal, so that's something worth bearing in mind if you do have a low output pickup in your guitar. Moving on to the reverb and effects section, I was impressed by the reverb, which to my ear does a good job of filling out the sound without getting too cavernous. I'll be honest in that the additional effects didn't really float my boat. There's not enough control over the echo to make much use of it, and neither the flange or the chorus produced anything that I'd use in my own music, but the choruses are at least musical and kept to within a sensible range that may come in useful to add a little colour at times. My only real criticism of this amp is that I felt it to be a little underpowered given the 120 watt rating. I've gigged with a well-known 60 watt amplifier for many years, and I felt that the ASG-8 had significantly less volume in comparison. Admittedly, you can use the DI out to connect to a bigger system, but for some gigs I think you may struggle with this amp. It's definitely a coffee house listening gig affair rather than a rowdy pub gig one. At £599, I think this amplifier is very reasonably priced, especially given the quality of the sound and the solid build quality. Overall, I've been impressed with this amp from Godin. Okay, I felt it to be slightly underpowered compared to the quoted specs, but if you're a singer-songwriter or an instrumentalist looking for a professional sounding and looking piece of kit for smaller gigs where sound quality is important, I think the ASG-8 should definitely be on your shopping list to try out. I hope you've enjoyed this video from Acoustic Review. Please subscribe and hit the bell icon to be kept up to date when we post new videos, and I look forward to seeing you next time.